Hey guys, so we ran into some trouble. This is my 1970 Mercedes 280 SEL. So we drove this car outside of the house, drove about maybe just about a block, and then we started hearing some clunking noise like something is broken. And then afterwards, the steering wheel is kind of tight and it's hard to turn it. So I was able to pull into this plaza and just park the car over here. And I also noticed that at the bottom of the car you can see two spots, so it seems like something is leaking. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I need to leave the car parked or just kind of take a look. Just an update, I started the car and I actually still hear the clunk clunk sound. I'm just gonna go ahead and leave the car parked and locked it up and come take a look tomorrow morning and see what we're gonna do. And it is the Memorial weekend, so it's possible that I won't be able to get the car to my mechanic till Tuesday. But I will take a look at the car tomorrow. So we were able to figure out the mystery. So we found a loose nut coming off where the belt was, and it's actually hitting the fan. So I had to reverse the car so many times, since I can't move the steering wheel. Just to get it into the parking lot, I actually had to, do, like reverse, front. And while doing that, something leaked out, and I think it smells like coolant. As you can see, there is some spill marks right over here. If we take a look over here, and if we go by the car, you can actually see something is leaking. So it's actually dripping, if we can see. So I think that looks like coolant. I think we're losing coolant. Hey guys, good morning. So today is the next morning. So I let the coolant, the radiator cool down. So it's the next morning, so I'm gonna go ahead and take a look. So this is all the coolant that leaked out yesterday. It was kind of dripping. And so now that the car is cold, I'm actually gonna go ahead and remove the cap. And if we take a look, we can actually still see that, there's coolant inside. I can still see it. So this is what happened. So if you look over here, the pulley right over there, that's the pulley. So the belt actually for the steering pump came off, and the pulley is what was hitting the radiator. My hand, and check the belt. So I don't see any cracks. So I took a look at it, and this is the pulley that actually came off. And the bolt and the nut I actually have inside, but I do want to make sure, it's not cracked or anything. But the washer is bent, so I'm going to need a new washer, and I'm going to go pick it up from my local auto parts. So this is where the radiator is leaking from. So let's go under the car. So it's on this side, all the way on the bottom. So, okay, let's go ahead and take a look from the bottom of the car. So as you guys can see, there is a lot of buildup right over here. So if I touch it, as you guys can see, that's all coolant. So it's leaking from right over here. So yeah, so yesterday when it was actually hot and it was dripping, so it was dripping from, I don't know if the core got damaged of the radiator or, it's just a minor. But yeah, the fan looks all right. So I did notice this on the fan. So that's definitely from the pulley hitting the fan. So the fan did take a little bit of damage, but not that extensive. And we solved the mystery that, the steering wheel wasn't turning because the belt from the power steering pump came off the pulley, and the pulley started hitting the radiator, which was making the metal on metal sound. So we figured out the mystery for the sound, as well as why the steering wheel was so hard to turn. Also, I opened up the steering pump reservoir to take a look to see if we have any steering pump fluid. So I pulled this off, and we're gonna take a look inside the reservoir. So this is my toolbox. So I was able to remove this hose, and now I wanted to take this off, but I realized that this tool that I have, it is too small and it's not gonna fit around this. So I went ahead and tried with this, but for some reason I'm not able to get a good grip. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my other Mercedes and run to O'Reilly's or AutoZone, and gonna go ahead and pick up the right one so we can open this up. We'll be back, we'll continue. So these are the 3 wrenches that I picked up. I wasn't exactly sure what size, so I picked up 1 adjustable one, and 2 I picked up the biggest ones. So I'm gonna go ahead and test the one that fits, and the ones that do not fit, I'll go ahead and return it back to AutoZone. So this is the 27mm, the tool that I picked up. So the other ones I tried, they did not work, but this one I was able to, this actually fits perfectly, and I was able to move it. So I'm gonna go ahead and loosen this up. Yeah, this is already loose. I think I can just remove it with my hand. There's actually a hose right over here. If you guys can see, it has a clamp on. I'm gonna go ahead and start to unscrew this. I went ahead and put a pan underneath the car so that way it can catch any oil that drips. So as you guys can see, there is a little bit of fluid. I believe that's coolant that's dripping. So when I'm untightening this screw, I'm seeing coolant leak, catching it in this pan, so that way it doesn't fall onto the ground. So I'm just gonna go ahead and keep this here for now, just for protection, and continue to unscrew that. So the hose is ready to be pulled off. So I definitely believe it's gonna leak out coolant. So I'm gonna go ahead and move my hand and catch it in this container. We've pulled out the radiator about less than halfway, so almost there. So we got this. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So this radiator is definitely heavy. It is a 1970s, so everything is, you know, solid. It's brass. So we're gonna go ahead and continue to lift this and pull out this radiator. Ugh. Oh my God, we almost got it. Almost out. Okay, keep going. Keep going. We got this. Keep going. Almost there. Almost there. There we go. Oh, this is it. This is it. We got the radiator out. Woo! Ah, this is the radiator. Okay, here we go. As you guys can see, I have pulled out the radiator out of this 1970 Mercedes. So my game plan is to take this radiator to my local radiator repair shop and install it back into this car. But as well as, if you look right over here, the pulley fell off, so I'm going to be putting the pulley back on and the belt, and then I'm going to put the washer back on and the nut, tighten this back up, and yeah. And then I believe since we had to drain out fluid, I am going to have to, you know, put all the fluids into this car. I went ahead and just cleaned up, kept all the tools in this Mercedes for right now. I know I'm going to be coming back to put everything back into this car, so I do need the tools, so I'm just going to put it in this trunk. And I've left the pan underneath, and I'm going to leave the towel there. We are going to take the radiator to the radiator repair shop tomorrow, and we are going to go from there. Good morning, guys. So it is the next day today. So today is the day where I'm going to be taking the radiator to a radiator repair shop. So I brought a garbage bag. I brought 2 of them. I'm actually going to go ahead and put them in the bag, and then we're going to take this Mercedes and take it to the shop. So I will see you guys at the shop then. This is the radiator shop that we are going to take our radiator to get repaired. So let's go inside and tell them what's going on and see if they can go ahead and do a repair. I went inside Pankey's radiator and talked to them. They mentioned that this is all the original radiator from the car, 1970, so it's never been changed. So they said that they'd be able to save the outside of the radiator, but the inner core they would have to change. But they said that to do this type of work, it would be $1,100 for the radiator inner core, and then the other one, the small piece, that one would be $275. Which would, they said it would take about 3 days to get this ready. So I was honest with them, and I told them that that was not a number that I had actually expected. So what I'm gonna do is I told them that if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna go ahead and look around with my other local radiator shops, and if I can't find a better price, then I'll definitely return back. But I do want to check in the market before I commit to Pankey's radiator. So that's where we're at. I have another radiator repair shop local to me, so I actually gave them a call and they said go ahead and bring the radiator. So we're gonna take the radiator and get a quote from them, and see what type of price they give us, and then we're gonna go from there. Okay guys, so let's go ahead and head to the next shop. The next shop that I'm actually on the way to, it's called Dot's Radiator Repair. So we're gonna go ahead and see what they quote us and what they say. So I just dropped off a radiator at this shop. So Dot's Radiator, they mentioned that they charge us about maybe like $275, so which is not bad. Hey guys, good morning. So wifey actually packed breakfast for me, so this morning we're gonna go ahead and start heading out, and we're gonna go to the radiator shop, pick up the radiator that's been repaired. So once we get to the shop, we're gonna thoroughly take a look and see what repair they've done and ask any questions that come along. And then once we pick that up, then we need to make another stop at O'Reilly's, and we're gonna pick up the power steering fluid for the car as well as a new washer, and then we're gonna make it back home. So I just put the radiator back into the car. We just picked up the radiator, so they were able to actually repair the whole thing, clean it up, and it looks all good. And the good thing is that we actually got to keep our original radiator of the car. So that is really, really good. And so out the door, they charged us just $250, so I brought cash. So $250 for the whole repair and getting it cleaned up is not a bad deal. We're back at it again today. So today is the big day. So I've actually gotten the repaired radiator with me, and I also went to Napa Auto Parts, my local auto parts store, and I was able to pick up the right coolant that goes for this car, as well as the power steering fluid that we're going to be using. So first what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put the pulley back on. We're going to put the belt back on. Once that is done, we're going to go ahead and install the radiator, and then once it's done, we're going to start up the car and see how the car does. So I just wanted to show you guys the coolant that I picked up. So this is the coolant that I picked up. This is Xerox, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's G05. So this is the one that I will be using. And this car, I believe it should take about 2.5 gallons. So I picked up 3. So this is 1 gallon. So I picked up 3 of those. So this is the pulley that had fallen off. So we're going to go ahead and put the belt back on, and then we're going to put the pulley back on. So there we go. So this is the belt that actually came off. So I'm going to go ahead and push the fan up a little bit. Try to put that back on. So this is supposed to go like that. So I need to put the belt back on first. Ooh. So just an update. So I was trying to put the belt back onto the pulley, but I was having a hard time putting the belt onto the pulley and putting it back in place. So what I ended up doing is there turned out to be 4 bolts for this power steering pump. Once I took out the 4 bolts, I was actually able to adjust the power steering pump and pull it up and put the belt onto the pulley and put it back into place. So next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put the washer and the nut and go ahead and tighten this up. So I figured out that you don't actually need to take out all the bolts to adjust the tensioner. So what you can do is you can just actually loosen the bolts. It gives you a little play, and then the power steering pump, you can actually use the tensioner. You can move it around with your hand and adjust it, get the pulley back on, the belt, and once that's back on, you're going to want to start in to tighten it, but do it little by little. So basically you're adjusting with the nuts, so you're tightening on one side a little bit and go on all the sides, and that's how I'm actually putting on. I was able to get the pulley back on as well as the belt. So now I'm just starting to tighten everything up. So I've gone ahead and tightened this bolt, and there's another one on this side, if you guys can see right over here. So I'm going to start tightening this one as well. So now we're basically just tightening everything back up. So I tightened this bolt as well as there is one on this side. So that one right there. So I tightened this one a little bit too. So just with my hand, I'm gonna tighten everything in the end, but I'm just trying to just adjust everything before, just to make sure, so that, you know, the tensioner is adjusted and it's tightened up. So I'm just adjusting, I'm slowly just tightening everything by hand first to make sure that, you know, everything is in place. So I was actually able to tighten all the bolts. I tightened up the tensioner, the pulley is secure, I tightened up all the bolts. The belt is on and the belt feels good. So next we're gonna go ahead and start installing the radiator back in, and then after we're done installing, we're gonna add coolant, add all the top off the fluids, and let the car run for about 5 minutes and see how the belt does and how the car does. So this is the repaired radiator right in front of me. So it's all original, still the original radiator, but they were able to gone ahead and fix the repair. So it's been repaired and we're gonna go ahead and install it back in now. Oh, almost in. We got the radiator almost in. Sweet, okay. We officially got the radiator back into the car. So now we're gonna go ahead and start hooking the hoses back up, and let's go from there. I just went ahead and put this hose back on, and I tightened the clamp. And I just put this hose back on too, and then this one I actually need to tighten up. So let's go ahead and tighten this up. And basically what I'm doing is I'm actually putting everything back, putting all the hoses back, and just tightening everything. So after this, as you guys can see, I'm gonna go ahead and connect the bottom hose right over here, connect that, and put the clamp back on and tighten that up. Now I'm actually underneath the car and I'm gonna put this hose back on. So let's go ahead and bring this hose right over here. And let's put this hose back on. So I have the hose properly back on, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and tighten the clamp right over here. So this is the clamp. So this will make sure that the hose does not come off. So make sure that it is properly on. And let's go ahead and tighten this up. Mostly it's tightened up, but I'm trying to make it perfectly tight so that way the clamp stays, and so just to make sure that the clamp is, you know, perfectly secure and it does not fall off, because the last thing we want to happen is, you know, the hose actually comes off and the fluid leaks out, the coolant leaks out. So we don't want that to happen. So I want to make sure, you know, the clamps are properly securely tight so we don't have any leaks. This hose is tight and the clamp is on, so this one is good. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to this hose, and I'm going to go ahead and connect this onto here and then tighten this. So first I'm actually going to go ahead and just tighten it up with my hand, and rest of it I'll go ahead and use a wrench. Okay, so it's getting there, so just keep on. Okay, perfect. I can tell that it's secure. Just tug on it and make sure that it's secure, and you know, that is success. So this one is good. So let's move on to this one now. So all the hoses are connected. I've connected the bottom hoses and the upper hoses. So now I just put this case on and I'm just tightening that up. So basically just tightening everything back up. So that is tight, and I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up that, and then we're gonna go ahead and add coolant and start up the car and see how the car runs for 5 to 10 minutes. So this car should take about 2.5 gallons. So just in case I picked up 3 gallons, so it's better to have more than, you know, have to run to the store again. So I'm currently just adding coolant. So this is for this car, so we're gonna go ahead and fill it up about 2.5 gallons, and then we're gonna start up the car, keep an eye on the temperature, as well as look out for any leaks under the radiator. And we also need to, before we forget, we also need to fill up the power steering fluid. I'm super excited to put everything together and start up the car, and you know, hope that, you know, everything runs good. So I'm almost done with my first gallon of coolant, and I see that, you know, it's definitely gonna take more. Okay, So this is going to be gallon number 2. So let me go ahead and open this up, and we're going to put gallon number 2 in there. Starting to see coolant a little bit. That's good. That's a good sign. And while we're at it, what I'm going to do is I'm also going to check the dipstick and check the oil level on this car. So just for, you know, safety precaution and for good measure, we're going to check all the fluids. We're going to check the oil level, and we are going to be topping off the power steering fluid like we mentioned. So for the power steering fluid, I am going to be using automatic transmission fluid. So this is ATF. This is Dextron 3 specified. So this is something that we can go ahead and use for the power steering on this car. I'm going to go ahead and open up the power steering reservoir. So the last time when we had checked it, it was completely, it was pretty much empty. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and check the oil level on this car. So let me go ahead and move this wire out of the way, so we don't want to get oil on this. So I'm going to go ahead and start filling in the power steering fluid. So the newer cars have a lot of specifications, you know, what to put in the car and what not. So these older cars, you know, back in the day, they did not have much specifications. So that's one of the reasons I'm putting this, which is, you know, Dextron 3. This is transmission fluid, so that's why it's okay to even add this. So let's go ahead and put the cap back on, and let's tighten this. So next we're going to be checking the oil level on this car. I am going to go ahead and pull out the dipstick and check, clean it out once, wipe it down with a napkin, and then I'm going to reinsert the dipstick back, and then we are going to gauge what the oil level is on this car. So the oil level seems like it's in the middle, so not bad. So I'm going to check it one more time just for good measures. So reinsert the dipstick. So the oil seems to be at medium. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and add a little bit of oil and recheck the oil level. This is the oil that I'm going to be using for this car, and this is the same oil which the previous owner of this car used. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to use the same one since the car is used to having this oil. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of oil, and then we're going to recheck the dipstick and then let the car run. I'm going to try to not add too much, so just a little bit, and I believe that should be good. Put the cap back on, and I did spill some oils, so I'm going to go ahead and wipe that down. So it's better to use a funnel. If you do have a funnel, you can use that, so to avoid spills, and which is better. So I went ahead and started the car. It's been running for about 5 minutes. Keeping an eye on the bottom, I don't see any coolant dripping. So the fluid on the bottom, that's from my previous spills that when I was topping it off, I spilled. So far, everything looks good. The power steering belt seems to be fine. The coolant seems to be fine, no leak. And let's go ahead and look at the temperature in the car. So that's about the number that the car usually runs on, between 180 to 200. So that looks normal. So the oil level on the car, this is good. So that's what this car usually stays at. So everything looks good. I am going to let the car run for about a few more minutes, and then we are going to go take a test drive on the car and see if the power steering fluid is fine and if the steering wheel is able to turn right and left. It's actually my first time working on a classic car. I've never worked on a classic car before, so I'm very grateful for all the help that I got. YouTube videos, my neighbors, and strangers that were very kind enough to actually help me out and guide me through and share their knowledge. And with all of the help, I was actually able to take out the radiator, take it to the shop, get it repaired, and I was able to put back on the power steering belt as well as the pulley and adjust the tensioner to get the belt and the pulley back on. So I learned a lot from this experience, and all I wanted to say is that I've realized and learned that older cars are so much easier to work on, and I'm so glad this happened to me and I got the opportunity to work on this beautiful 1970 Mercedes 280 SEL. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will go ahead and continue to make more videos like this. So I plan to make videos on my 2008 S550 as well as my 1970. So the temperature seems to be fine. That's the normal temperature that the car runs at. So everything seems fine, and I can also turn the steering wheel left or right, and I'm not hearing any metal on metal sound. So I'm just gonna drive it just around over here and, you know, see how the car does and go over bumps and just to kind of just monitor. Everything seems to be running really good. The car is actually running much smoother than how it was before. I'm able to turn the steering wheel left and right. The radiator isn't leaking and everything. The car is actually running better than before. So this turned out to be a success, and this was actually my first time working on a classic car. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. That definitely helps the channel. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.